Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2472. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. I get across the pond quite often, and today I'm back in the UK, in Reading, Berkshire, with a very special guest by the name of Scott Bannister. Scott, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I'm ready to release the clutch.
All right, we'll have some fun. Now, before I introduce you, I always break the ice with this question. What's one little thing that people don't know about you, Scott?
But I'm a huge Lego collector.
Oh, okay. I've got a few friends like that. In fact, one, he has an entire basement that's dedicated to his Lego world. It's absolutely crazy. And now he's got two little kids, but I don't think he lets them go down there and touch any of his builds. Are you that rabid about Legos?
Yeah, we moved to the house we're in now so that we could have the entire loft space for Lego.
Oh my gosh. Well, Legos are cool. I played with them when I was little, when they were just, way back in the 60s. And when my kids were young, my daughter was never into them, but my son was. And we still have them all here for grandkids. But what is it about Legos that you find so intriguing?
I think it's the design, building, it's the engineering, the Technic sets in particular. I think frustrated engineer in me wants to take something apart, put something together, and really just enjoy that experience.
I've got to ask you this question because I've thought about this with the Legos, and since you're a Lego aficionado and I'm not, I've always looked at the Legos they do nowadays where you build actual things as a bit of a compromise on creativity for kids, because when I was little, they didn't have that. You took a big pile of stuff and you made your own, which I always thought spurred a lot more creativity. What's your opinion of that?
Completely agree. I love getting the big sets and building those. Actually, I really enjoy making my own models and building a mock, so a model of my own creation. And especially the cars and the towns, I love building my own buildings, and there's a freedom in that. And I think, putting it in a box and telling someone that they can only build something, actually, it stems that whole creative process. And I think maybe we need to change that.
Well, I like the way you think. When I was a kid, I built a lot of model cars, and I used to buy 2 or 3 model cars and build one out of those 3. Take the different bits and pieces, and I'd take a hot knife and cut things and widen or lengthen the car and do things like that. Probably because my father was creative, so he always spurred that on. But it's nice to hear that. But would you say also the Lego building thing is a way to kind of escape a bit? If you have things going on in your life, which we all do, you can focus down on one thing and put some nice music on and forget about all the worries. Is that is a therapy thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I got into Lego when I was in hospital having an operation. So I had a problem with my gallbladder, and I was in hospital for a couple of weeks. Wow. My wife bought me a Ghostbusters Lego set, and I was hooked. And I had my laptop with me at the time, and I was a big gamer, and I put the gaming down and just spent all the time building these Lego sets, and it just went from there, and it became an addiction, an obsession. It's incredibly
addictive.
Yeah, and consuming. It consumes you everywhere you go. You're always looking, is there Lego there? So yeah,
nice.
But it's great.
Have you ever been to any of the Lego lands? Because when I lived in Southern California, they built one. It was brand new in Carlsbad, and we took the kids there, and it was quite amazing, some of the Lego things they had built there. I thought it would be really boring, but I knew my kids would like it, but they were real little. But I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Have you ever been to one?
Yeah, we live quite close to the one in Windsor in the UK. We were season pass holders for there. We've been to the Florida Legoland, and I've also been to the one in Japan. as well, which was incredible.
Well, I'm not surprised. Sounds like fun. Maybe something I should get back into. I'll have to think about that. Well, let me introduce you here. Scott Bannister is the founder and managing director of Regularity, an event company with the goal of opening the world of touring challenges to a wider audience of motorsports enthusiasts. Regularity is the evolution of an idea that participating in the Classic Motorsports Challenge doesn't need to be about large groups, stuffy rules, hard competition, or who posts the quickest times. It can be about the adventure, discovering new countries, maybe even with Legos, and experience jaw-dropping scenery with a small group of like-minded enthusiasts. I love this concept, Scott. He developed his passion for classic cars and rallying at a tender age, accompanying his father, a renowned MSUK steward, route designer, and clerk of courses on countless international events and rallies. What a childhood. My goodness. Scott's passion evolved further as he began to develop his father's route design business, helping to design and develop events in Switzerland and Central Europe. This is so cool. We'll be back in just a moment. We're going to take a little break here, so buckle up, but we'll be right back. I'm going to go find some Legos while we're taking a pause. Hang in there. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? Then let me introduce you to Capitalize Your Finances. It's an online course designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools for mastering your money. This course will help you lay out the ins and outs of budgeting, the importance of emergency funds, investing strategies, and how to plan for a secure retirement. All this presented by financial planner Chris Paniotu. Chris has developed this course to help you effectively navigate your world of finance with confidence. Stop stressing about money and start taking control. Enroll in Capitalize Your Finance online course today and pave your way to financial success. To learn more, go to capitalizepodcast.com/courses, or better yet, go to the Cars Yeah website, show notes page for today's show, and click on the link under Capitalize Your Finances. You'll be glad you did. Do it today. Hey, guess what? Some of you regular listeners will remember back in 2019, I created 10, 11 shows called Cars Yeah TV, where I went to some fabulous locations of past Cars Yeah guests, and we did a TV show about it. Well, they're up on the Cars Yeah YouTube channel. So go check it out at YouTube. Just type in Cars Yeah, and the shows will be there for you to enjoy. I hope you have fun watching. So, Scott, Regularity, this is quite an interesting endeavor. And I've got to ask first, before you founded this, you worked, my understanding, worked in the IT business, which is very different than what you're doing today. But what made you want to take this step, kind of in a way you're going back to your childhood, into doing this? And I know you did this transition in 2023, so it's very, very recent. Big, bold step, my friend. So what was the catalyst that caused this to happen?
Over 25 years of working in quite high pressure roles, and I just decided one day that actually I was missing out on life. I wasn't spending the time I wanted to with my children, and it just felt that it was a good time. And 2023, year of transition for lots of different reasons, and I thought, yeah, let's go for it. And I really haven't looked back.
Well, I'm really proud of you because that's a big, bold move. But I've heard this more and more. And when I started Cars Yeah, this was what it was all about. I've had so many friends that were very successful financially, business-wise, but it wasn't their passion. And they just were kind of burned out. And I worked in cars, and my friends would say, I want to do what you do. I want to work in the car world. Now, this is before I did my podcast. I was in a previous role in a company that I helped grow. But I really thought, you know what? We never know how much time we're going to have. And we need to make the most of this world. And maybe COVID helped spur a lot of this idea on. Technology did as well. So tell me about Regularity, where the idea came from, and what is it all about?
The idea came from a number of conversations over dinner with my father and a friend of ours who owns a very famous hotel in Switzerland. And it was that we love the touring and endurance events, but the competitiveness puts some car owners off. If you own a $1 million Ferrari, you're not necessarily going to want to drive it stupid speeds through forest roads and chip the paint, damage the wheels. And we felt, and I still feel, that there's a very big gap in the market for those people that actually we want to give them something that is an experience. They can take their car, and it's such a beloved item. They can bring that with them, and just almost like an Orient Express, but with your own car. You visit all of these wonderful places, and some places that you never thought you would ever see.
Right.
And that was the aim. And I was eating this most amazing meal with a friend, and I sat there and I thought, this is the kind of thing I want to share. I want to do this with people like yourself, car enthusiasts, who want to talk, who want to just enjoy that magic. And that's what spurred me on with Regularity, really, is to build this brand for people to come to. And I felt that's something that was missing in the marketplace, and I still do. And that's why I'm kind of on this endeavor now.
I love this idea because at this point in time, there's a large group of folks that have a nice car and they want to go do something. But you're right. I've done some time distance rally things, and there's so much pressure. And it's like, I wanted this to be fun, and it just was all this work. And I get it. Some people really like that idea, but in my case, I did it with my son. And I told him, I said, look, we'll probably come in last place. We've never done this before. But the goal today is to have fun. And, out of the mouths of babes, we were at one point, and I was getting frustrated because he'd never done this, and he was trying to call out times and turns and all this. And I was getting frustrated. And we pulled over, and I could tell I was getting heated. And he goes, Dad, remember, you said the first rule was we're supposed to be having fun. I don't think you're having any fun. And it just brought everything down, and made me think, okay, let's reevaluate what we're doing here. So what if we come in last? Let's just have a good time and enjoy this. So it sounds like that's what you're setting up. So tell me a little bit about because this is very new, about some of the ideas you have of where you're going to be doing this, what the group size is, how is it constructed? Is it one day, multi-day? How does Regularity work?
So this year we have one event on the calendar. Next year we have 4. And 2026, at the moment we have 1. However, we're in negotiations for a couple of bigger events there. The aim of the events are that they tend to be a minimum a week-long tour, but then we're branching out, and as we go into Central Europe and Asia, anywhere between 2-3 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks long. The aim of these events is basically we will go to a location, and it will be a point-to-point. So the upcoming one this year is the Queen of the Danube. That will start in Bucharest, and we will head through Romania, heading towards Budapest, but we will go via Slovenia, we will go via Croatia, Slovakia, Austria. We'll take in these countries and some great cities and see some amazing sites that actually you wouldn't necessarily go and see yourself. Some amazing roads, incredible views that you just wouldn't know about unless you've gone there and done the homework, driven it, looked around. And we found some fantastic local restaurants. We found some wonderful 5-star hotels. And it's about that experience. For us, it's bringing people together, and it's a small group. We're no more than 30 crews in any one challenge. So that is 60-ish people plus our support team. So never any more than 75 people.
Wow.
And that was one of the other reasons why we wanted to push in the direction we are with Regularity, is that both my father and I have attended these endurance events where you've got maybe 60, 70 crews. And people, they lose their way in such a large group. You maybe you don't talk to all the competitors. You don't get to know each other. Our view is that actually we want it to be exclusive but inclusive. So yes, we're keeping it to 30 crews, but this is open to lots of different people. It's not a car club. It's much more than that. And actually, a lot of the reason for talking to people is to really try and get an audience for this and from across the world and really get some excitement, because I think I'm personally very excited about it, and I want the people to feel that too. And one of the great challenges that we've got coming up in 2026 is the Mystic Kingdoms. And the Mystic Kingdoms is a start in India that heads through Bhutan, back into Nepal, into Tibet, back into Nepal again, and then finishing in Agra in India. And it's 32 days. It's an incredible event. We're working really closely with some local partners as well, just to get some real insight into some of the most incredible places. And yeah, really, really so excited about that one. And I think it's just a wonderfully different event. And that was something that was important to us as well, is that we don't want to come into this market and really copy what everyone else is doing. I think what everyone else does is tremendous. It's brilliant. But there is a place for a different take on it, and some new adventures, and maybe some places that people aren't quite aware of. So we're working very closely at the moment on a Silk Road event, which is going to finish in Uzbekistan. And that's really, really, you are just such a beautiful country, and really it's not really been touched by this market. So yeah, I think it's really exciting.
Sign me up. Gee, I'm ready to go. This is so exciting. I love a couple aspects of this. One is the intimacy of the group. Two is the names that you've come up with. These sound like grand, great adventures. And mostly the uniqueness of everything that you've talked about, of taking people to places they would never even try or figure out where to go. And the fact that you've curated this so nicely, it sounds absolutely spectacular. I'm excited. It just sounds really cool. Now, will people need to bring their own cars, or are there opportunities if they don't want to ship it? Let's say I'm all the way over here. I don't want to ship a car there and deal with all of that, where you can find people cars, anything from regular cars you would just rent to maybe unique, different kinds of cars?
Initially, the concept has always been for people to bring their own cars. However, with our partners that we've got in these countries, there is the opportunity for people to come and play. It's not necessarily the first choice, but it's something that if somebody wanted to do one of these amazing events and they said, actually, I'll come, sort me a car, I'd love it. I'd be absolutely really open to that. And that's another part of the regularity journey, is we want it to be inclusive. So if somebody says to us, I can't ship my car, I don't want to, we'll work with them. They can also say, actually, I love the event, but I don't want to do it with 30 other crews. I want to do it on my own. At that point, we have a bespoke offering as well, which we can take any of our current events and we can bespoke them for individual needs. And again, that comes from this is my background has always been in service in IT and servicing the customer. I love customer service. My family owned a restaurant as I was growing up, and it's just that incredible detail. And I think that's the thing that I'm definitely bringing to this, is that real love of making people happy. I want to give everybody their favorite place. I want them to discover their new favorite place, their new favorite food, their new favorite anything with us, because I think that would be the thing that makes me go to sleep at night very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful idea. I love everything about it. It's just absolutely spectacular. This is really cool. Yeah, I'd like to ask about what I call our driving inspirations, things that inspired you when you think about what this grand adventure, bold adventure you're doing. You touched on it earlier, but did this inspiration come from your youth with your father? Is that really where this drive kind of came back up and bubbled up inside of you?
Yeah, it did. It came from three very interesting places. So two very influential, inspirational figures in my life have been my father and my maternal grandfather. My dad he's traveled, he's worked all over the world. He's done some fantastic events. He can look at a road and say, right, this road, this is perfect. We should do this. And it's just, to watch it, it's magical. My grandfather, I'm still lucky he's still with us. He's just a fantastic raconteur. He traveled a lot with the Air Force when he was very young, and he talks about those experiences. And they both great readers, and they got me into National Geographic when I was younger, and I just saw all of these fantastic places. I've been lucky enough, I've visited 80 countries myself.
Wow.
And I want to see everything. I want to see as much of the world as possible. And what's great about everything in life is shared experience. And I think that's probably another driving force behind this is I want to share this. I want to share that really great place that I visited once with lots of different people. And I'm lucky enough to travel now with my family and do exactly that.
Living the dream. Well, I would assume tackling something like this has a whole lot of challenges. I can't even know where to begin. But is there one in particular that kind of maybe has pushed you in this endeavor, but you've learned an awful lot from that challenge?
Yeah, for a lot of my adult life, I've struggled with my mental health, and unfortunately, I had a breakdown in 2020, and this gave me such an important lesson in my life about actually taking a minute, waiting, looking at what's around you, and really what's important. And it made me start to think more and more about what can I do differently. And again, that was where the very early ideas of regularity came from. It's like, actually, let's do something else. It was never 9 to 5. This stupid number of hours I was working, and I was in very high pressure roles. I was always on call, so I was always getting calls very late at night about data centers exploding and all this kind of stuff. And so I think, it just, that was such a great thing to happen. And actually, it really opened the door to other things. I changed my diet, and at the same time discovered I was actually celiac. And so what it's helped me to do with regularity is really concentrate what's important to me. And those things that are important to me, I see they're important to my customers. They're important to the people in the team around me. And I think that has given me, it just made me change in such a positive way and grow as a person in such a positive way. And I'm very, very lucky now. I have very few issues with my own mental health. I still, like everybody, you never quite, it's not something you can get over, but it is something that I've learned so many great coping mechanisms for.
I really appreciate you sharing a really personal side of your life. And this is has become a reoccurring theme with several of my guests. Just a guest recently, we talked about this. And I'm really happy that you shared this, because everybody has to deal with things in some capacity, and some much more challenging than others. And I've even have friends who have either children or people in their lives who are dealing with this. And if you haven't dealt with this, it's hard to understand it, because the old, well, just buck up, just get over it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And I'm really happy that you looked at this challenge as a breakthrough in a way to improve. And you look back now and say, I'm kind of happy I went through this. I know it was kind of tough, but it's helped me get better and see things in a different light. And a lot of people never get to that point. They just suffer and say, well, I guess this is what my life is like. And it's so sad. And I'm glad that the health industry, and I hope it's the same in the UK as it is here, there's a lot more emphasis on it now. Never before would I go to a physical and the doctor would ever say, how's your mental health? Are you feeling okay? It was just, cough, bend over, do whatever they do to you. And now the first things they ask you is, how are you feeling? How's your mental health? And, oh, I can talk about that? So I'm glad that concept has changed, and I'm so happy for you. And I'm really appreciative that you shared that, because somebody out there listening right now is dealing with this, and they're going, oh, that's a different perspective that Scott has. Maybe I need to go talk to somebody. And would that be your advice to somebody dealing with whatever level of a mental health issue, that they go seek help, they talk about it? Is that the first key big step?
I think, yeah, it is. It's an honesty with yourself, having somebody actually just saying it's okay to feel this way. And I think COVID helped so many people with that. And I think it's an absolutely tragic event in our lifetime. And it's okay, I don't feel okay. And I think if we can give ourselves permission to feel that way, and then you should also find someone you can just open up and talk to about these things and not feel. And as a man, maybe I think we grow up being told that it's wrong to feel feelings at times,
right?
At least. And I think that actually, no, it's not. You can feel the way you feel, and it's important that you feel it, process it, and then come to a realization that actually all these things are a good thing for you. They are an opportunity for you to look around and make an assessment of what's good, what's bad, and what can you change. And I can say to everybody, you can. If I've changed things, and when I was a very tight person who could not see change, could not do any of those things, and I've managed it. So I think that would be my advice: is actually allow yourself to feel that you can.
Bravo. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, so important. And there's a lot of different opportunities nowadays other than just going to a doctor. There's online organizations. I believe Better Health is one I've seen on some of the YouTube videos that I followed. All sorts of ways to seek help. And you just got to take that first step. So thanks for sharing that. Let's talk about a special vehicle in your life, because I kind of figure you're a car guy. Is there one special vehicle that stands out for you?
Yeah, my first car, which was a bright red 1 liter Ford Fiesta. It was a great car. In the UK, we have letters at the beginning of each number plate, and then it was an N plate or an N reg, and so she was called Norma Jean, Marilyn Monroe.
There you go. Yeah,
big fan, and she was just an incredible car. And I went on this fantastic journey with my now wife. We'd been dating a little while, and we decided to have our first weekend away, and we drove to Cornwall in the UK, which is about 5 hours from where we are.
That's a good test of a young relationship, a 5-hour drive.
It is, and it was that journey that made me realize she was the person I wanted to talk to for the rest of my life.
Oh, nice.
It was such a great journey, and we laughed, we listened to ABBA, we both discovered we had the same crazy musical taste. Anything 70s, 80s disco, and we just loved it. And we kept that car for a good couple of years, and it saw some crazy accidents. I drove around a roundabout and a wheel fell off.
Oh no! Oh gosh.
So yeah. So it was just a fantastic car. And actually, I think it went to the squint peep in the sky. But if I ever saw it on the side of the road, I think I'd go and try and get it back,
revive it
just
back.
Great car.
Very
Absolutely.
Good. Well, thank you, Norma Jean, that little Ford Fiesta. Very nice story. I love it. So I'm going to crawl into your head a little bit, be your psychologist just for today, but it's your car psychologist. If you were reincarnated or manifest as a vehicle, what would you be and why?
I would be a Mini.
Oh, man. Okay. I get it.
But I'd be the evolved BMW version. So,
okay.
So rather than the original, which I love, great. I'm small, but I'm not as small as the original. I'm very practical. I'm really design-led. I love design. It's weird. I'm trying to bring new life to a classic. That's when you got in my head with this one, I thought, yeah, that's what I am.
Makes sense. I love it. We've had 2 Mini Coopers in our family. Really fun little cars, and I've taken long trips in both because we bought them for my daughter, and she went to college about 1,500 miles away. So in the fall, I would jump in the car with her, and we'd drive to school, and then I'd fly home, and then in the spring, I'd go back, pick her up, and drive back home. And amazingly comfortable cars. You know, I'm used to driving Porsches and BMW M3s, and that car obviously doesn't have the power, but very enjoyable car. And you could pack a lot of stuff in that thing. I was shocked at how many things my daughter got in the back of that car. Girls' travels to college are very different than boys. I think my son brought a backpack, and that was it. My daughter filled her car. So there you go. Nice story. Very cool. How about a great book? We love reading here. Is there a great book you could share with us?
There's a few. I loved Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. That was a great read, and I'd recommend it to anyone who wants to deliver world-class service and also evolve that and keep providing really great touch points for the customers. Another great book that helped massively while I was going through difficult times was You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I love that book, and I have the paperback, the hardback, but it was the audio book was the audiobook for me that did it, because I could hear Jen's passion. It was that passion for the subject, and she really does kick you. She shakes you when she's talking, and it was just good. It really, and it's something I will pick up, listen to every 3 or 4 months. If I feel like I'm dropping off the page a bit, I'm not necessarily keeping my goals in mind, I go back to it, and it's just helped. It's been wonderful. And then work of fiction, which I could recommend to anybody who wants to travel, is The Broker by John Grisham, which is just a credible book based in an incredible city in Bologna. And Bologna is becoming more popular, but it was, at the time that I read the book, it was a bit of a hidden gem in Italy, and it was just such a great book.
It's a fascinating city. I got to go there first time I visited the Ferrari factory, and I stayed there because I wanted to go to the Ducati factory, and I just bought a Ducati, and that's an old walled city, and it's just so different and unique and cool. So Broker by John Grisham. Good books there. Thank you for sharing those. So before I let you go, could you share what I like to say the ultimate drive? And I'm going to enable you. You are enabling others to go have fun on ultimate drives, but today I'm going to enable you, Scott. I'm going to park any car you would love to have in your driveway. Don't worry about the cost or the craziness. I'm going to provide it to you, and you're going to take a drive with anybody that you'd like, even somebody from the past. What does the ultimate drive look like for a guy who's planning some amazing ultimate drives for many, many people?
For me, it would be Mercedes-Benz 280 SL, the Pagoda, so the W113. Amazing, beautiful car. And it would be with Tom Hanks. And I'm happy to be driven, but I like to drive, but I would be happy to be driven as long as he's talking. I want to hear. For me, it's his life in film is really great, but I want to hear about the world around him and how I've read his book. I think he's just a really interesting guy who really would just be a brilliant person to spend a day or two in a car with. And I think I just want to hear everything.
Sounds quite lovely. Yeah, those Mercedes are just delicious cars. I'm going to make yours a manual, though, because the automatics are a little bit too sluggish for me. So we got to have a little more revs to get the speed up, if that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Manual all the way.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. You've taken us on a wonderful journey today. And Scott, the great thing about you is you're going to be taking many people on journeys of their life. And I just love your story. I love what you've done. I'm so happy that we connected and you're doing what you're doing. Just sounds spectacular. Could you leave us with some parting words of wisdom or inspiration?
Yeah. A really good piece of advice that was given to me probably a lot later in life than I wish it had been was, what people say about you behind your back is none of your business. And it's really helped me to stop worrying about the opinions of others and actually just go after the things I wanted. Since saying that mantra to myself, it's just, it really is such a positive message for self-belief.
Absolutely. I've heard that myself, and it is great. And especially in the world of what I do, when I first started this, I'd get a few reviews that weren't 5-star reviews on Apple, and it'd really get me down. And my wife, who's way smarter than me, and my regular listeners have heard that ad nauseum, she said, "Why do you care about somebody that you don't even know what they think about you?" And I wish he had added those words. It's none of your business anyway, because it would have made more sense, right? So, yeah, it's wonderful. It's a good thing to think about, especially these days in the world of social media and keyboard warriors who will say things on a keyboard that they would never say to you in person because they're not brave enough, or maybe they're just that rude. I don't know, but I love it. A great saying. How can people learn more about regularity?
Via our website, which is www.regularity.co.uk, or connecting with me directly on LinkedIn. It's just Scott Bannister. I think I'm the only one on there at the moment. Even email me direct at Scott, SCOTT.Bannister, BANNISTER @regularity.co.uk.
There you go. I'll put connections and links to all these on Scott's show notes page. Oh boy, the future looks bright with Scott Bannister and Regularity. Scott, thank you for being being so generous today with your time and your story and sharing what you're doing. So excited for you. Until you and I talk again, and this works very well here, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
This was fun. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. 20, 50, or 100 years from now, will there be a workforce to care for the collector vehicles we love? With auto shop programs disappearing across the country, it's a question we enthusiasts have to ask. That's why I support the RPM Foundation, which exists to ensure that the critical skills necessary to preserve and restore these vehicles aren't lost to time. One of the many ways RPM, which is short for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship, is accomplishing this goal is through workforce development initiatives. The RPM Apprenticeship Program enables the next generation of artisans to earn a living while they learn the craft of restoring and preserving these vehicles directly from industry professionals. The Endangered Skills Program documents the process of masters training future craftspeople on a variety of critical skills in danger of being lost forever. For more information on how the RPM Foundation is driving the future of the collector vehicle skills trade, visit RPM Foundation today. They're one of the charities of choice here on Cars Yeah!
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah! Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah!